On episode 38 of Chit Chat, we ponder a scenario worse than losing half the world's population. What if Thanos snapped away half of your favorite board games? I'm sure we'd still find infinite games to play. You know, because Kickstarter. Welcome back to Chit Chat. This is episode 38, and as you can see, we have some note cards here, and we'll tell you all about these in a minute. We're going to be challenging each other to a little bit of a game where, well, if you've seen Endgame or Infinity War, you know Thanos snaps his fingers and dusts 50% of things. So we're going to be taking some games and challenging each other to snap away 50% of some of our favorite games, basically.
And to mention, we're on the spot. We have not shared our lists with each other. We've made them in groups. So when they are challenging me, they're picking games that are mostly games that I enjoy and vice versa for everybody. So it should be really fun. We're all going to be put on the spot.
It should be interesting, and we'll just say this up front. We don't mean any offense to the games we snap away. At least not that you know of.
These are our favorite games we have to decide between.
These are tough decisions for us. So that's what we're going to be doing most of the episode. And then, of course, we'll talk about the games we've been playing. But before we do any of that, we've got a winner from last episode.
Yeah, so we gave away a $100 gift certificate. This week it went to Amy Lou. So make sure you email us at manvsmeeple@gmail.com. And we're also going to give away another Broken Token gift certificate, this time for $50. So make sure you make a comment below and you're going to be entered to win. And before we get started, we also want to thank Drinking Meeples here in Indiana.
Yeah.
They gave us the idea to do this kind of episode. So if you guys are watching, thank you. All right, let's start.
All right, let's start. So Ryan, we're going to start with...
We're going to do it in 3 rounds.
We're going to do it in 3 rounds.
Yes.
Starting with sort of a bit of a softball round. And even though I said Ryan's name, we're not going to start with Ryan. We're going to start with Kira.
Oh, okay.
But
Wait, what?
you're going to be the one put on the spot. Who has Kira's round 1?
I don't know. I don't have it.
Not me.
I have Kira's round 1.
That's why.
We're really prepared for you guys today. So, Kira, you've got to snap away half of these, which is 1 because I'm only giving her 2 games. So, Arkham Horror LCG or Villainous?
Oh, that is a little tougher than I'd expect, honestly. You first said it. I had a really bad end of the campaign for Arkham Horror this week, so...
Are you going to let that sort of thing taint you, like your last experience?
I've played a lot of Arkham at this point, and Villainous has so many possibilities still to come as far as villains. Like, we haven't seen a lot of the Scar, for instance, is one we've talked about that we'd like to see, and I don't know. I think I'd be okay with Arkham.
You're snapping away Arkham.
Snapping away Arkham.
I told you.
This is based mostly on the fact that you feel like you've experienced more of it and you could let it go, and there's more.
That's solely the reason why. Yeah, I'd say if I had to pick, like looking at it, is what have I gotten out of the game and what can I get out of the game, and that's why I'm going with.
Well, that's some pretty good
reasoning.
reasoning.
Unique way to look at it.
That's some pretty good reasoning. So next up will be me. I don't have my own card, so who's
I
that?
do.
All right.
David.
All right.
5 Tribes.
Oh boy.
Or Space Base.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you guys are jerks to me. Again, no offense to anyone watching.
Other than us, because we're the jerks.
Well, I gotta say, I love both games. I haven't played 5 Tribes in quite some time, but this is a tough one.
I know how important that game is to you.
This is a tough one. You know what? I have to. So here's what I'm gonna say. Well, I'll tell you. I'm gonna snap away Space Base. Sorry. Sorry, Space Base. But 5 Tribes is in my top 10 of all time. I'm not sure where Space Base yet fits into that, but I don't know that it's in my top 10 of all time. Plus, 5 Tribes, I've invested a lot in that. I have every expansion for that. Now, like you said, I haven't played with some of them even. But I do want to get that back to the table. And every time, it's just one of those games that's hard to get to the table, but I love that game. And I regard 5 Tribes as a classic board game. It's like a historic game in board gaming. So 5 Tribes stays, Space Base.
Yeah, I've been calling my collection. That's a hard one to get rid of. 5 Tribes, I think, will stay in there for quite some time.
Hard.
Even though I don't play it a lot, I still like the game. All right, you have to have me,
I have
right?
Jeremy's. Right. Your choices between Lord of the Rings, Journeys of Middle-earth, and War of the Ring.
Interesting.
That's
So
two Lord of the Rings games.
Within the same IP, but very different games.
War of the Ring was like my number 6 of all time.
Oh, was it?
But Journeys in Middle-earth is probably the culmination of all the things I like about that style of game. I could not snap away my War of the Ring Collector's Edition. I just couldn't do it.
You'd have to.
I'd have to, man, this would be heartbreaking to get rid of this.
You're getting
it
all
would-
your miniatures
It would
painted
be
for Journeys,
really,
like right now.
because I'm in the process of getting those painted as well.
That's an interesting
wasn't so much
point
of a
because you
softball.
can't
This
just
is not
snap
a
away the
softball.
standard edition. The game itself goes away.
Journeys in Middle Earth, although I know I could have another 3,
Yeah.
4, 5 years with that game with all the expansions
Oh,
coming
boy.
out. So that's hard, but I cannot fathom getting rid of Collector's Edition because there's only like 2,000 of those things.
And the
out
thing is,
there.
if you haven't seen that thing, it's impressive.
It's a beast of a
Yeah.
book. So, all right, that was mean. All right, Ryan.
Yeah.
2 games that you absolutely love: Rising Sun
Oh, no.
and Mansions of Madness.
Oh, man, that is a tough one. But I am kind of with... I feel what Kira was saying about Arkham Horror to the point where I've played
Mansions?
every possible scenario that's out for Mansions, and I play some of them twice, even.
But how if they interject like a new
But
scenario?
that's the thing,
or
there's going to be new
campaign,
scenarios coming out.
right?
Trying to make it harder.
No, I think I would snap Rising Sun.
Really?
I honestly do. I
That
love it.
surprises
but
me.
it doesn't hit the table as much. Whereas my friends all love Mansions. My wife loves Mansions. It's much easier to get her to play Mansions.
Yeah.
And you have to take that into account. It can't just be the favorite game. But I know she'd be very disappointed if Mansions went away.
No, I
So,
think that's. I guarantee you that's going to play into some of my choices maybe on
Yeah,
the next
it hurts,
few
but I
games
would-
because how often you can get it to the table and who you play with, particularly if it's like your significant other and you're playing it together. Obviously, you couldn't play just Rising Sun with her, probably.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so play along with us. Make your choices below as well. It's a great way to comment and let us know what
Yes.
you'd snap out of these. All right, we're going to start back around again. Kira, I have your round 2.
All right.
Oh,
I just introduced you to Star Wars Rebellion, and I
Yes.
know that this hits a lot of the whistles and games that you enjoy. Like you've been talking about nonstop. We've played it twice, and you
like
want
it
to
a
play it
lot.
again.
I do.
Oh,
And I'm also going to throw up Lord of the Rings: Journeys in Middle Earth because I know that this is also driving a lot of your decisions on what we're playing.
I bet I know which one she'll snap.
I honestly don't know.
I think I
Really?
know. I think I know. I have my
think I do.
bets.
I'm gonna also say Journeys.
Really? Whoa!
I am surprised at that. That's crazy.
I'm surprised too.
I mean, Rebellion is good.
Rebellion.
So it's hard.
Rebellion.
I haven't got. We've played a lot of Journeys at this point, and while there's a lot more to come, like I've lost twice in Rebellion. Like I'm starting to figure it out. And remember we were talking last time. Like I think I figured out what I wasn't getting about it, and I really am excited to play it again.
The base system in Rebellion is such a strong
Yeah.
system. It
Yeah.
combines those things that people like about Ameritrash games, but also has a ton of hidden strategy, which most people don't realize. There's so much strategy on that game by when you're using your forces, when to block
Oh,
forces.
yeah.
A lot of good stuff. Plus, it's also infinitely expandable. I mean, the movies, there are going to be more movies. You know they're going to tap into the current set of movies, which they haven't done. They tapped into Rogue One.
I would
they
love.
could tap into
like
the
a
prequels. I mean,
How many?
First
Have
order
they just had one
Just one
expansion?
expansion.
one
yeah.
expansion.
And you do think that there's opportunity
Oh,
for
for
absolutely.
sure, definitely
Absolutely.
opportunities.
And let's just remember too, like I definitely love Lord of the Rings, but of the 2 IP, Star Wars is by far my favorite.
Yeah.
So there's that too.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
All right, who's got David's number 2?
I don't know how this is number 2.
Oh boy.
I don't-
This is a tough one.
I don't envy you this.
I think you guys were
think we did
toughest
all
on
of
number
yours.
one.
I think
really
we were
bad.
because this is gonna. All right, Seasons or Vindication.
Oh gosh.
Just before I answer this, can I ask the guys at Orange Nebula just to turn off the sound for the next?
Uh-oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't. Let me think about this for a second. Vindication is obviously one of my gems from this year that I'm really enjoying. You guys keep choosing like my classic favorites. Yeah, I have to snap away. Oof. I have to snap away Vindication. I am so sorry, Orange Nebula
Like
guys.
Seasons that much.
Oh yeah, Seasons again. It's in my top 10. I just played Seasons last week. And I haven't even, honestly, as much as I've played that game, I've played a lot of it digitally, and I haven't played a lot with all the different expansions. So there's actually a ton of more game space for me to play Seasons. There's so many cards. When I played last week, I was playing with cards I'd never seen before.
Wow.
You know, there's a crazy amount of cards. If you mix all of them in from all the expansions, The other thing, the only thing I would say about Vindication that I was considering was that Seasons is not exactly an easy game to get to the table with like a bunch of new people and still have the same experience I want to have, because if ever I get Seasons with new people, you can't really draft the cards in my opinion, because a new player won't have any idea what they're doing, so their experience will suffer, which I don't like. But if we just use random cards, then it's not really the Seasons I enjoy playing. So that's the only knock against Seasons, but I'd have to keep it. Vindication doesn't have that. Vindication I could introduce to new groups all the time and play. But
cool.
All right.
So, sorry, Vindication.
Who's got my 2?
I do.
All right.
I forgot what this one was.
Why are you smiling?
Because
Don't like that smile.
we keep having crossovers, that's why. Great Western Trail versus Star Wars Rebellion.
Wow. I'd snap Great Western Trail.
Whoa!
I did not expect that.
I didn't expect that either.
I mean, Rebellion is it's like the pinnacle of Star Wars games. There's not a better
is.
one out there.
Well, that is true. I don't think there is
And
a better
again-
Star
I haven't
Wars
played it
game.
enough to say that.
Plus,
but
he
it
just said
feels
so
that
many
way.
great things
That's
about
true,
Rebellion. It
that's
would be
true.
hard to go, yep, bye Rebellion.
But Great Western Trail is also so good.
It is, but there's so many Euro games that fill that void for me. There's nothing that can fill Star Wars Rebellion. Like it does exactly what Star Wars is supposed to do.
That's fair.
And it does
That's
it
a
in
fair
a way
point.
that's not just dice chucking. There's a lot of like Euro mechanisms in there with the strategy and what you're trying to do. So, all right.
So you must have Ryan's.
I do have.
I have
No,
Ryan's.
you have
Wait,
Ryan's.
Wait, yeah, you.
I have Ryan's. Are you ready?
Sure, as ready as I'll ever be.
If you've watched Chit Chat at all, you'll know one of Ryan's next games here, and that is Heaven and Ale
Yeah.
versus a game you might know, Great Western Trail.
Oh, really? Oh, man. I thought you were going to put it against Azul.
We might have that later.
That's a tough. Oh, God.
First
I
of all,
get what-
which one of you played more? Because I'm guessing it's
I've
Heaven and
honestly
Ale.
played more Heaven and Ale only because at 2 players, if anybody watches Chit Chat, you'll know I went through a streak
Yeah.
where when that came out, we just played it like crazy. And I think it's a different experience at 2, 3, and 4 players, but
And there's an expansion.
there
coming
is
out.
an expansion coming out
You would never be able to play
that I would
expansion.
never be able to
Yeah.
play.
Ever.
The
But
expansion I
the
heard
ex-
suffers without the base
doesn't
game.
exist.
Right. But the expansion to Great Western Trail just came out, and it adds so
was
much
good.
You
to
played
that
that.
game. And
Very
I've
good.
played it a couple times, but not nearly enough to like really feel like I have it.
Well, you don't have the expansion to Heaven and Ale right now.
But man,
Look at it this way: no matter what, you're going to both compliment and insult Eggert Spiel.
that's true. I think I would have to. I would snap Great Western Trail.
This is weird. Like these are games that we love.
I mean,
like,
I love, but
It's
these are
hard,
these
isn't
are
it?
2 games I love, and both of these games are very close to my heart. But again, it is partially because I'm so excited about that Heaven and Ale expansion, and I'm dying to find out what they add to that game. And secondly, it's just easier to play a 45-minute Heaven and Ale game than it is maybe a 2 to 2.5 hour Great Western Trail game. And as much as I
true.
love playing Great Western Trail, it's another one that's a little harder to get to the table.
well, now you'll never be able to play it again.
I would miss it. That's for
Congratulations.
sure.
No, you won't.
It's
We've
gone.
arranged for all of these to actually disappear.
So this is. I don't even want to go to round 3.
Yeah, this is
Round
Are
3
we
is
in
going to be
round three
interesting.
It's
right
starting to
now?
hurt a little bit.
After, I have to admit, after hearing some of the answers we've all given and some of the justification, I feel a little
can
less,
change it.
a little less like this is going to be a tough one for the person I've got.
Yeah.
but
We'll
we'll
see.
see.
I
We'll see.
wonder if you should change it back to what we originally had planned.
Maybe.
might.
You could put
Play it
one
by
up against
the-
2 of them together.
Right?
On. Oh.
Okay, you
Oh.
have Curious,
I have Kira's number 3, and it's gonna
I
be
don't want to talk.
a heartbreaker.
it's gonna be Dice Throne
I knew it.
or Wingspan.
Wingspan.
Oh,
You
boom.
snap Wingspan?
Just boom.
That
Snap.
quick?
That
quick.
one was the easiest one
I
thus
think,
far.
yeah.
I
probably-
was certain you were going a different direction
Well,
with
especially-
that.
What other direction do you think we were going to go?
I thought
I
you
know.
were going to say Tiny Epic
Yep,
Galaxies.
I figured.
Really? I thought that would be an easy
Tiny
one.
you guys
Epic
know
anything.
that's one of my favorite games.
Although
Well,
Dice
I know
Throne
Dice
is up
Throne
there.
is your favorite game, so it's just really hard to put something against Dice Throne with you. And I
You
feel
put
like
a lot of money into Wingspan too lately.
I did. I put a lot of money into Wingspan, and I love it, and I haven't touched all of it, but at the same time, Dice Throne is infinitely expandable.
What about Dice Throne versus your entire collection?
What are we even doing now? This isn't even
he's
fair.
doing the-
I don't think she would snap it away.
he's doing the 50% by weight.
What about
Dice Throne is a lot of
What
content.
about Dice Throne versus Ryan?
That's not fair.
I want to hear the answer to this.
Oliver
No, I'm
would
just
have
kidding.
no dad.
Yeah,
I
what
think
about-
Dice
think
Throne's
of-
infinitely expandable,
That's
and
fair.
so I think
Yeah.
that stays.
All right.
All right, that's
Fair enough.
enough.
That was kind of a softball.
I
but-
would have said, and honestly,
That was a
just,
little bit of a
just
softball.
to say what I would have said. Yeah, that's the one you should have started with. But to say it against the game I thought you were going to throw out, Galaxies, I probably would snap away Galaxies too, only because I know there's another Tiny Epic game that I like. You know, there's several I like, and there's more
There'll
coming, and
always
they do
be
a great
another
job.
Tiny
Always
Epic.
another-
Right.
Talking about infinitely expandable, they could do Tiny Epic anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Tiny Epic
excited
Dice
to see
Throne.
what's coming next.
All right,
so.
David.
Oh,
See
okay.
this.
This may be the
Sad
most
now.
Is this
challenging
going to be
thing
the
ever.
easiest one?
You know what these two games are.
Is it going to be Twilight Imperium versus Azul?
Castles of Burgundy against Orleans.
This is actually, I think, pretty easy. As much as I love both, and it is going to contradict some of my earlier positions on games.
Interesting.
So I'll have to change that probably. I would snap away Orleans.
Wow.
That's pretty.
I mean, even though
self-evident, yeah.
Orleans currently sits atop my favorite games of all time, at least published, I think that will probably change. And Castles of Burgundy is a much easier game to get played, in my opinion, by far.
Really?
I feel so. There's a lot less to... The simplicity of what you're doing in Castles of Burgundy is much easier to explain. You roll these 2 dice, you use them. Now, there's a billion things you can use them for, and that takes some explanation. But Orleans is just a slightly more complicated game. And I end up just playing a lot more Castles of Burgundy than I do Orleans.
Well, it has an app
for
now.
whatever
They have
reason.
The new
Well,
edition coming out soon.
That is an interesting point. Once you get like digital opportunities to play it and you just get more and more of it, it's harder to let go of that. Like if that doesn't exist in any of those formats, then I'd never get to play it. So, could I snap away the old one and knowing that the new one's coming
No,
out?
you have to
think it
snap
works
away the
that
new
way.
one.
Okay.
If Jeremy couldn't keep his Clutches edition, More of the Ring.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Who's next? You?
I am.
Okay, I got you here.
Which way are you going?
I'm gonna go with what we have here, and then I might change it up depending on how quickly he answers.
Okay.
So, Zoltan. I'm curious to think what he thinks
Because
might
like
be coming
we
next.
scratched out 3 different
We
things on
scratched
here.
out 3 different things because I thought, no, we should change it. So Zoltan versus Betrayal Legacy.
By Betrayal Legacy. I've already played it.
Okay,
That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
so
too.
let's change it up.
Okay.
Let's go back to the
Because
original.
it's hard with a legacy game, because once you're done with it, it's like
Yeah, I'll
you
never
don't
play
lose the
He wanted
experience.
to
Yeah,
pit.
yeah.
They want to pit a Euro.
I
game
wanted
against
a Euro against a
Yeah.
narrative game to
Yeah, I
make
get
him
it.
kind of like, but I forgot about Betrayal Legacy being something that he's done, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
why need it anymore?
Let's
So
go back
Rewind.
to the original.
Rewind.
Original.
I also think this is going to be a fairly easy
I think
pick
so
for
too,
him,
but-
but
I
in
think
a
so
different
too,
way.
but-
Zoltan and Twa.
Zoltan.
It's not even a hard choice.
Twa's
Twa's so
way
good,
up there
yeah.
for him.
Well, it's hard when you look at somebody's like favorite game, like there's just like not even a competition in some of these. It's like an instant. It's like my number one. There's
Well,
nothing
I
that would
don't
even.
know-
I
I
gotta say,
feel like
though,
our round 3 ended up being the softball round.
it almost did because I think we got
Unintentionally.
we got super comfortable with how we were like thinking about this
Yeah.
process. But I would say what you're about to say. Some people have a number one game that's huge,
Yeah.
and it's going to be hard to topple. I'm very fluid with what I'm enjoying, so like Orleans is probably going to move down my list. Is Castles taking its place? I don't know, but I'm more about what I find myself playing a lot of in the moment, or at least in the recent moment.
So I think it's harder too with games you don't care as much about. Like a game that you're really passionate about is probably going to always be the one you pick. But 2 games that you like, that you play an equal amount, that makes it a little harder.
Well, it's harder too because Twa's in the upper echelon of games for a lot of people, but it's my favorite game still for the fact that it does dice manipulation in the best possible way that I've ever seen in a game because it allows you to use your dice or other players' dice And it's just a really solid game from beginning to end. Even the expansion they added to it is just a great expansion. So, we've had 8 years, 9 years, and there's not been a better game as far as handling dice in that way.
How often do you play it?
How often? Maybe once or twice a year. Not often.
That's hard.
It's a good game, though.
That's
It's
hard.
really
There's
good.
only a handful of games that I could say that I love. Like Five Tribes is a good example.
Sure.
I love Five Tribes. I can't remember the last time I got it to the table.
Yeah.
It's hard for us in particular, but it's sometimes we get them out and then you always remember, oh man, I
Not only that, but
remember how much I
I
love
always
it.
compare it too. All these other games we're playing, I compare it to 12 and it has those same type of mechanics in the game. So,
So is this?
Yeah, I'm gonna give
Ryan's
it to you.
last
yeah,
up.
Yeah.
This should be a good one.
It should be.
It might be
It should
easy.
be.
Might
I'm still
be-
hung up on the Wingspan dice
might be a
run thing.
snap.
It's like those are the 2 first shadow boxes I'm making for my new little
course.
gaming space too. So it's like
well, now you can just do dice through 'em.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
you don't have to worry about
It
that
doesn't
anymore.
exist. Sorry, Jamie Stegmeyer.
Dang it! Do I still owe money for that second copy I just got of Wingspan? Okay, so Ryan,
Yes.
Azul
Yeah. Sure.
versus Terraforming Mars.
Oh, see, that's hard.
He didn't see that curveball coming.
That is harder.
I love this one because they're such different games,
I love
but we know how
that
much
reaction
we
is
love
like, Azul, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
Honestly,
almost like if we pitted Azul against Azul.
Remember,
honestly, I would snap away Azul. I'd say goodbye forever. I don't need
I
it.
thought.
My family can suffer. I'll never play Azul with them ever again, because that is how much I love Terraforming Mars. And I will play Terraforming Mars solo. It's one of the only games that I will actually play solo
Interesting.
because I love the challenge of that puzzle of like building out those different cards and how those cards interact with each other. And the solo mode is just very much that. That's all you're doing since you're not competing with other players. Is you're just trying to solve a puzzle.
and then new stuff coming.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
always new stuff coming for Terraforming Mars. I mean, and 2, you didn't say, does it wipe out the second Azul game as well? Like, do they both go away?
This is
Or can I still go
Would
play
that have an
Stained
impact
Glass?
on your decision?
Probably not. I love Terraforming. Now, Terraforming Mars versus Great Western Trail would have been a lot harder for me.
That would have
Because
been
I remember
tough.
they came out within months of each other, and that debate of which one was better just raged. I remember that entire year, trying to decide which one I liked more.
So we'll definitely do something like this again. This was
Yeah.
fun, sort of pitting
Yeah.
games against each other. Next time we might do like a tournament style thing where we have brackets and
Yeah,
have
let's
like
get
a
some-
last,
like-
some comments.
last game
There's
standing.
like similar types of games next to each other. Maybe.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
It's a little tougher because they're both good and like what if we'd said Pulsar and Terraforming Mars?
What if we have
Oh,
to
he would have
actually get
killed
rid of
Pulsar.
the game?
Yeah, probably.
that
I don't know that I would have.
Oh,
really put some
Where we
stakes
have
in
to
it.
cull it.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it
If we do
Pulsar
that
or Terraforming
episode,
Mars or Azul.
we'll start with Ryan and have him cull stuff, and then we'll cancel that show.
Yeah,
thank you.
that sounds good. That sounds good.
Let's just have a giant dumpster. We'll dump it all in there right on the sea.
Oh man.
So really quickly,
Yeah.
because
We
that
need to
took
go
a
get
little
all the
while.
stones, go
let's
back.
talk a little bit about what we've been playing, just briefly,
Sure.
starting with Ryan.
Well, I'll say I had Easter was last week, and we went and visited our family, and I knew that my little niece was going to be there, and she's 6 years old. So I took just some-
Terraforming Mars.
Yeah, Terraforming. So I took some kids games, and among those was Crossing, which we played at Origins, where you're just pointing
Great
at
game.
things, and like she was having like the time of her life, just pointing at things and like that, just like heartbreak when she didn't get it, and that joy. And then we played Rhino Hero, where you're just stacking cards up, and like these kids games. But my sister and brother-in-law, they don't really play games that much. But they were getting into it too because she was. And so I think it's just a reminder of like there is a space for these little simple games, for all levels of gamers, because they were enjoying it just as much as their daughter was. So
Yeah.
it was a fun time.
Cool. I'll talk about one game. We played Star Wars Outer Rim. It's a very interesting game. It's a very long game, longer than what we expected for 2 players. It's about 2 hours for 2 players. We've heard reports of 3 hours for 3 and 4. So it's a longer game, but it's super thematic, which got us, Kira and I, thinking about, well, what other games can we play with thematic? So then I introduced her to Rebellion, which you've already heard. Such a good game. I mean, if you have a chance and you haven't played Star Wars Rebellion, go back and play that game. I am sure you will absolutely love it.
I think I should play Kira because
Yeah.
I'm not
I
doing
think I
very
should
well.
play you.
well,
in
she
Star
doesn't have
Wars
much
Rebellion.
experience. I have 0 experience.
Let's do a little
So
tournament.
I'd like to play in that environment.
Would
You
you
guys-
play as the Rebels or the Empire?
Whichever, doesn't matter.
You guys
I
are
like
really
playing
making
as
me
the
want to play
Empire.
that game again.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
been a few months since I played it last.
Yeah.
Well, I was just in a cabin in the woods for about half a week with Robin, Christina, and Alicia, my fiance.
Games, right?
We played a lot of games, actually. We saw Endgame. We did a lot of stuff. But the games we played, I was introduced to a lot of new games. First of all, I'm happy to report we played a ton of Tichu.
Yay!
I finally got it to the table more, and we played it a lot. They loved it. We loved it. It was a really good experience. We ended up playing 3 full games, kind of. We won one, they won one, and then there was a tiebreaker. We also played some Seasons. We played Dwellings of Eldervale, introduced that to them. And we also played Galaxy Trucker, which I had never played Galaxy Trucker. Wow. And I'll say 2 things about it. One, I like the game. This is Christina's favorite game of all time. So,
really?
And it was a little late, so it was, I think, it wasn't the greatest experience because they know the game really well. Alicia and I didn't know the game at all, and there's a fair amount of stuff to know about, like these
how they all work
billions of tiles that seemed like this one does this one does this, and then go. So not only are we like competing against people who had experience, but it's against the clock. So we're like, am I doing this right? And then we all finish, and Alicia and I both had these horrid-looking little junk ships that were awful. And then we looked across the table. Rob and Christina had these perfectly symmetric, completely filled-out boards. I'm like, oh, okay, this should go well. So my ship actually exploded on the first card that flipped over. But with all that said, it seemed like a fun game. You know, I've heard mixed people have different opinions of it, but it seemed kind of fun. And then last we played, what is it? Custom Heroes.
Custom Heroes. You brought that
we
up,
played Custom Heroes because we'd played Tichu, and there's some similarities in the kind of games those are. And I'd never played Custom Heroes. I really like that too. I like how crazy that gets with like, oh, I've got a 16 now. It's really, really interesting game.
It's very cool. So in addition to Rebellion, which we've talked about several times now, we played Sorcerer on the live stream. I got Ryan to have a better experience than he did previously, which was nice.
Yeah, I think
set you up for that one.
Sorcerer definitely the if you don't know, like you're playing with these 3 different like card sets that you shuffle together. And if they are butting heads instead of working well together, your experience is a little worse. So just you have to keep that in mind. That maybe try again with a new day.
Well, yeah, getting to know him. So that was fun. We've played a couple of games we've played a few times, so I'm going to talk about the new one that we played that I really enjoyed, which was Space Gate Odyssey. That was super cool. Pain in the butt putting it together when we punched it originally, but you've got these little
like modules.
And
you're building a space
you're building
station.
your space station, and you've got your little different meeples, and you've got like your little
like your workers, your engineers, your scientists,
and you got a little bigger meeple, and then that guy can be a chief engineer, and he sits inside of a little suit, and it's really neat. Yeah, there's like a little outer suit, and you stick him in there, and I mean, just from that alone, I was like, this looks really cool, and it's very pretty, and is it Vincent Dutrait on the cover?
It's Vincent Dutrait. It's like a spatial puzzle almost on how you build that station.
It's really neat, and how you're in a little bit of an engine going as well, and you've got. I don't know, it's just really neat. You've got these 5 little modules, and you're trying to move your guys around in order to fill up the airlocks and move them through and unlock areas and make sure you're shutting off areas in order to not lose points and gain points, all that fun stuff. And we played it once. I'm ready to play it again. I feel like I got a good feel for it. We played it at 3 players, and it was really, really cool.
Yep.
I'm surprised that I was waiting for you guys to mention it. Well, I will mention that we've been still playing Lord of the Rings: Journey to Middle-earth.
We played it last
night. We are so close to being done. So
I forgot.
Hopefully, we will be beating this very soon.
So
we can give like a full
play it
report.
anymore. It's gone, my friend.
We'll be able to give like a full,
we'll just
full
have
overview.
To say.
Yeah.
It's still wonderful. Like there's.
And I'm so glad. I have to say this too. I feel a little vindicated because when we came out with that review, people were nailing us for saying not enough bad things about it.
Now that we've snapped it out of existence.
But it's gone from like a 7.6 up to like an 8.4 on BGG, and people are loving it. People are absolutely loving the game, and I'm glad.
I'm not hearing anyone speak poorly
I understand the
about
skepticism, but it's good to see that people are loving it.
It's a solid game. It's a very...
We were very close to the end of our journey last night if we didn't do things right because of the path that we've been taking. And so we've found our way back out of that so we can continue. But, I mean, that was a little nerve-wracking playing that last night.
The fact that there are multiple paths that you can take, like there are people that are going to experience very different trails in the game, branching paths from other people.
I have no idea how much further we have to go.
I have no idea either. We're on number 13, and we're still going,
Yeah.
I might have to play it with
It's-
another group
it's so good.
afterwards.
I'll play it again.
All right.
For sure, because there's so much we haven't
Yeah.
played. We don't even see. So yeah.
Well, that is a pretty big monster of an episode of
Yeah.
Chit Chat. I don't know how long it is, but it's a little longer than usual. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, remember, check out the Broken Token, and again, comment down below. We've given you plenty of stuff to comment about, hopefully. So do that down below for your chance to win a $50 gift card to the Broken Token, and we will see you guys next time. Well, that's another episode of Chit Chat in the bag. Thanks for watching. If you want to check out another one, there's probably one right over here in the bottom left-hand corner, or probably your right-hand corner. Whatever corner, we have something to click on. So click on one of these things, and good things will happen.